Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Privilege of the floor. Marshall?
He doesn't get privilege of the floor.
He is the floor, no privileges.
Don't give him extra time.
Everyone received their minutes from our October meeting. Is there any additions and or corrections?
No, except as presented.
All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. Treasurer's report.
First month of the year, our budget starts out about 18,000 on the revenue side, lower than last year. 90,000 a month to achieve break even. 1 out of 12 down, we're on target.
Hey, we're doing well, aren't we?
Lyle did a good job projecting. On the expense side, we're about 17,000 more higher than the budget from the previous year. 89,000 a month in expenses is towards break even. We're spending a little less than average, but again, 1 out of 12. That's page 12 of your packet. Page 13, 14, and 15 are blow-ups of the three major programs within the LDC. Again, 1 month out of the year, so we don't have to spend time going through the details on those. They're all on target. Page 16 of your packet. Our quick assets are about 266,000 higher than prior month. Receivables are about 315,000 lower. Total current assets are about 48,000 lower than prior month. Total assets are about 50,000 lower than prior month. Total liabilities are about 282,000 higher than prior month, and total capital is about 332 lower than prior month. Page 17. Page 17 would be the last. So we're about, again, 315,000 lower in receivables. And since I'm a broken record, can we ever get paid by Acadia?
No.
No? Can we do something to write it off as in-kind services or something? I know they're doing a lot. I mean, we should do something because this doesn't look good since March.
It's a bad debt.
Well, I'm not saying, I'm sure there's in-kind services that are being done as well, but something should be done to not have to report it every month. It doesn't look good.
Be happy to get rid of it for you.
I'm not asking you to pay it. I think we
I'm just
could,
telling you.
yeah, I think we could do something about in-kind services. They're doing a lot, but I hate being a broken record, so I go on the record for that. That's the treasurer's report. I will make a motion to accept it as I presented it.
For 1 month in, and everything looks good, I'll second.
Questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Alternative energy.
We had a busy month last month. I'll just go down through this real quick. I wasn't here last month because I was at a solar summit in Syracuse that National Grid put on. A lot of good information, very well attended. There was like 150 people, solar developers, government people. It was a good summit. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. The 15th of October, Geronimo was here, give us a presentation of what and who they are. They have a proposed 100 to 120 megawatt project that spans the town of Lyme and town of Brownville. About 1,000 acres, I believe. That same day, Dave Norbert was here to give us an update on the project that he's proposed in the town of Lyme. His project has changed slightly. It's went from 25 to 23 megawatts. He talked about an updated pilot proposal. Actually went from $1,500 to $4,500. 17th, Boralex was here, another solar developer, and they again, similar to Geronimo, told us about themselves, but they have two projects proposed. A large one, which they're calling Green Corners, which is in the town of Watertown and Helmsfield, approximately 120 megawatts, 1,000 acres. You have a second one, a smaller one, 20 megawatts, proposed in southern part of Adams and goes into Ellisburg. That's a 20 megawatt. On the 18th, Don and I and Ed were at the public hearing for the Oya project up in the town of Orleans, and I think maybe that's in the agenda somewhere later on as well, what the results of that was. So that was about it. If there's any questions.
Any questions for Bill, or? Thanks, Bill. Building and ground.
On the 22nd of October, Don and I met with Cheryl Workforce to get more details on what she's looking for around space. And on the 23rd, we met with Denise and Keith in regards to a proposal, and they had sent a proposal which we'll be discussing later on today.
There's nothing going on with that, right?
It's been very quiet by email. I don't get it. Nobody says anything.
24 hours a day.
Nobody says anything. Is that gets covered under the IDA later? The
Well,
presentation?
it should, because the building.
I just wasn't
and
sure
grounds-
which meeting it went under.
Yeah, well, Building and Grounds is a committee that was made up of LDC members. However, its charge is to
Okay.
report recommendations. to the
I thought it
IDA.
was on there. I don't remember seeing it
Yeah.
on the agenda, and I know that we're talking about it, so.
Yeah, essentially, it works the same way.
Next
with the
meeting,
energy.
yeah.
Well, the IDA is the owner of the facility, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep. Audit committee.
The audit committee met on October 10th to discuss engaging Bauer and Company as for our annual audit. We met with Brian Olson and Dave Bush. You can see by the notes, the kind of standard questions, they ask, is there any fraud or litigation? Questions on the loan, they brought up the AUI, issue, which is on the agenda for later here. I'll talk about that. They were talking about scheduling November 4th, so is that already clear?
Yeah.
And then the fee would be $5,600 plus $100 for information comes, so you receive your issues and from the board for final approval.
I have to tell you, John, before we give a report, because the irony of it just knocks me over. On Monday morning, we had more auditors here than we had people doing the work. And you wonder, frankly, at the end of the day, where the worker bees are and where people are that are checking and making sure we're doing what we're supposed to do.
Did the deputy show up with handcuffs? It wasn't a bad day.
Yeah, that's true.
Remember that, I come from the food industry, that's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a point
He's
there.
probably got more inspectors than she's going out the door from day to day.
I'll move the resolution to engage Bowers and Company.
Second. We have a resolution number 1107-2019-01 to engage Bowers and Company for the audit. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Well, we're speaking of audits, I met with our comptroller's auditor here for a few minutes yesterday. I think she's called most of the board and like that. I know that you haven't been able to meet
I
with
haven't
her.
looked up over yet.
It's a 5-minute process, a very nice young lady, and I was impressed. She had some very, very good things to say about our staff. Coming from an auditor from the state, that's impressive. Especially Lyle, I'm telling you, she was impressed with Lyle, so.
She's a very nice young lady.
Yep, she says it feels like family around here. So that's good.
So like family, they're overstayed their welcome, right? Who's gonna break the news, Don?
We're not done
Who's
yet.
gonna break the news?
They're not done yet, so.
You gotta play the role of the crotchety old uncle.
Yeah. They come in every night, you know.
Well, congratulations to the staff on that.
Manufacturing, Dave.
Thanks.
A couple things, I think, well, I sent you an email update, but we had a good manufacturing day, we had about 1,000 students, I mean, doesn't think went as planned. We actually we had one class from Carthage that had about 240 students, we could not accommodate that day between the 30 schools and, you know, the number of manufacturers. So we're dividing it up between 6 different manufacturing facilities, November 19th, so we can send a bus to 6, because no facility can accommodate that many groups, so we're dividing up that way, so that'll finalize things there. The Fort Drum tour went very well on the 18th. That was the day after manufacturing day. We had about 35 people participating in that, and that was the opportunity there was for employers to tour Fort Drum, see the soldiers, talk, hear presentations about what they're doing in their workplaces, be it the motor pool, be it the medical clinic, and I think it was very enlightening for a lot of employers in terms of the depth of training and skills that these soldiers have. Some of those that training doesn't necessarily translate into what the state requires to get certain certifications, even though they may be more experienced and such. But I think it was very eye-opening for the employers of that potential workforce out there. We had earlier back in October too. We also had working with the North Country Alliance. I'm on the North Country Regional Economic Development Council. You know, the governor's structure. The North Country region is working on its next strategic plan as part of that CFA competition. So we had a tradable sectors day up in Potsdam. Rob was there with one of his colleagues, and we had other people across the North Country. That's kind of focusing on what we need to do to strengthen tradable sectors, including with a heavy emphasis on manufacturing. So that'll be incorporated in that, and hopefully we'll take some of that stuff. We're working with the county to apply for additional EDA funds to update their comprehensive economic development strategy, and we'll bring all these other things into that as well. So.
I need to ask a question. Did you vote on this one? Am I missing something? Vote on what? The resolution?
The audit committee, yes.
Was it all in favor? You must have said nothing. You abstained.
You moved it.
I moved it.
You moved it.
We're moving at rapid. Dave is just moving at rapid pace.
Ripping right along here, Dave.
It's gonna slow down in a bit.
Oh, I know. That's why we gotta get the easy stuff done soon.
I move we skip Steve.
Any questions for Dave?
My apologies.
I think that manufacturing day is wonderful. I wish we could get, a little more publicity of, exactly what happens and everything for it.
Yeah, we did get some good coverage on it, but it's kind of a shot in the pan, and it's gone. But I think the growth of it in terms of number of schools and students that we see participating from when it was half that number a couple years ago shows the response to where we're getting more than we can accommodate now. So we have to look at that down the road. Actually, I was at a workforce conference in Rochester, which was a joint conference between the Economic Development Council that we belong to and New York Training Professionals, which is the Workforce Development Board's, their membership. And Marshall and I just met with Cheryl Mayforth and her staff that were there yesterday too. We just got together yesterday to kind of talk about what can we take from that we learned out of that conference, what do we need to do here locally. I think one thing I would share is that one of the sessions we were in was sort of telling the economic development story and the importance of working together, economic developers and workforce development professionals. And folks were talking about the examples, things you need to do. And Cheryl and I looked at each other and kind of commented that a lot of what they're saying needs to be done. We've got a very good, very close to working relationship here with our workforce development board, which is key. That's really where the key is in economic development right now. And so our meeting yesterday was talking about what we needed to follow up, but also maybe doing more to tell that story. And one thing we talked about was maybe expanding our annual report. Marcia could talk more about that, but maybe highlight some of those shared stories to show our leaders and the public what we are doing together behind the scenes to get a lot of stuff done.
Dave, what grades is that open to?
8th grade and up.
Because I know one of the things that came up in the Potsdam discussion was trying to get sort of 6th and 7th integrated into that.
Yeah.
Make earlier decisions about vocation versus college and that type of stuff.
Yeah,
It
we're
seems
into
to be a common
we are
theme.
looking at what we can do. There are some things that,
6th grade could be early, but
when we did have allow it to set, the first couple of years, we had some seventh graders there, and they're not really that attentive during the tours, and, you know, that's why we kind of, but we've although it's eighth grade and up, most of them are like 8th to 10th grade, being that the eighth graders and ninth, they're thinking about what they're gonna be doing going into high school, following career paths. And then the idea of getting the 9th and 10th graders too is that they're still early enough in their high school career, they need to make it, by the end of their sophomore year, decide if they're gonna do college or if they're gonna go in the BOCES program, because they sign up for that for their junior and senior year. So we are trying to still hit them early enough that
And possibly for 6th and 7th graders, you can
Yeah.
think about a different thing.
Yeah.
Park them at JCC and do a presentation on stage about the types
Sure.
of careers
Yeah.
versus bringing them into the career field. 'Cause when they're in an auditorium at that age, I think they, I mean, there's still horse play.
Right, yeah, yeah, but-
They tend
Yeah,
they
but
tend
they're
to
a little
sort
more
of
attentive, right,
conform a
good
little
point,
bit
yeah.
better
Yeah, we could do some of that.
versus staring at a machine and
Yeah.
wondering what it does.
Yeah. One thing we have done, which I haven't reported on, is that periodically we've, because of our relationship with schools, a couple times we've been asked to facilitate meetings where we brought in some of our tech industries, our manufacturers, to meet with Watertown City Schools and others that are developing curriculum for the 4th and 5th and 6th graders, to kind of bring more of that STEM skills in, you know, the science, technology stuff, or coding skills, and to help them bring stuff to the state level as well. So there is some partnerships going on at those lower levels. But.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Something I'd just like to throw out along with that is something I discovered 2 nights ago watching television. I was watching PBS. And you've all probably heard of the show Frontline? Frontline segment, it's been there for years. They did an hour-and-a-half session on artificial intelligence, where it's going. And it was riveting. It was riveting. And I would just encourage everyone in this room to try and viewing of that, because it plays right into where the jobs are coming and where they're going, the ones that are going to be eliminated. It was so well done. I highly encourage everybody to watch it.
Yeah, I just read an article on that the other day too, and they were just saying how it's going to change the nature of the jobs, because you still need people to program and do a lot of the
The nice thing was it divided it up into like 5 segments, and one of the segments was like automating the trucking industry, and it brought the labor unions in to give their perspective in the next 5 years where the jobs are going and which ones are going to be eliminated, and there's real concerns there. Because, I mean, one of the statistics is half the labor force in the next 15 years could be eliminated with automation. So there's some really provoking discussion and direction going on there. It's going to create a lot of new jobs too, but still, it was an excellent segment. I found it fascinating. I'll just throw that out there.
Thanks. Marshall.
Good morning, everyone. If I could also just touch on that one other thing about the trucking, going back to that conference I went down to in Charlotte, Waymo, who's kind of leading the charge, and there's on the trucking side, it's like it's going to start like the length of our throughway, and then the whole last mile. And Waymo has a market cap of like $112 billion, and they're 3 times the size of Ford, and 90% of our population has never even heard of Waymo, and only 1% actually knows what they do. And they're the 4th largest company in the world, behind Apple and Microsoft and a couple others, but it's an amazing thing, and they talked about that the labor force issues on that with the trucking, and that's really where the first thing is going to fall on that side, and it's the over the road, long straight stuff. Sorry to get a little bit sidetracked on that. Also on the manufacturing day, I had the privilege of going to Great Lakes Cheese, and the kids had a ball. The tour was outstanding. The facility is amazing. I had never been in there before, and your business is amazing, John. It was really something to see, and the kids are hilarious, and they were into it. All engineering during the engineering class, but it was just totally great, and everybody had a great time.
Did you have an orange jumpsuit too?
I did. Yeah, but I took that picture, and you see, like some of the kids, they take the hairnets and they immediately like put them over their face, and they're like, "Is this how it goes?" And it was just funny.
Or a visitor uniform?
It was great. It was totally great. I have a draft of our second video. This is a draft, and there's some parts that are kind of haven't been dropped in yet, and there's some things that are going to be changed. But we are like, honestly, this is where they start putting the slides in. We're 95% of the way there. I would be surprised if at the yep, I'll get everything squared back away. What I kind of want you to focus on is, and it's short, it's 34 seconds long. Sort of the feel of it in the script. There's going to be one change, because there's a little bit of a clunky line in there that I don't love. But I'm going to show it once, and then I'm going to kind of do it, and I'll just stop it and say where we're going to make a change, or if I have any other comment here. Okay. Try not to.
Jefferson County, New York is the ideal place to live and play. Grow your business with our trained workforce and top-rated educational opportunities. Enjoy faster time to market with our proximity to the major population centers of the northeastern U.S. and Canada, including the nation's most state-of-the-art border crossing. Get running faster with shovel-ready sites, tourism with 4 seasons of fun, and $250 million in recreational spending. Do business and live well in Jefferson County, New York. Jefferson County, New York is the ideal place to live and play. Grow your business with our trained workforce and top-rated educational opportunities. Enjoy faster time to market with our proximity to the major population centers of the northeastern U.S. and Canada, including the nation's most state-of-the-art border crossing. Get running faster with shovel-ready. New York is the ideal place. Tourism with 4 seasons of fun and $250 million in recreational spending. Do business and live well in Jefferson County, New York.
Feel for it. Any comments?
quick is that gonna run? Is that like a 10-second, 15-second,
It's 34 seconds.
34 seconds?
But we can make it into a 30-second spot. This is gonna be really deployable in a lot of different areas. I like it. I really like the script. That one line, sort of hemming and hawing a little bit, but that's the way it goes.
What was the one that's running currently? It's like, I saw it on PBS the other night.
Yeah, that's a chopped up version that they did, because, so to keep prices down, we own it, they own it, they can do, most of the shots are their property. So to do that, they have access to it, but I want it that way. I want any and everyone, Fort Drum, manufacturers, we have a couple of different things in the background on that, but I want everybody to use it. This is for everyone. So I'm excited the way it's going, and Pete is doing an awesome job, and we're wrapping up. A couple other things. Next month we are going to be streaming our board meeting in compliance with the new regs from New York State. There won't be any change. Looks like we're going to be able to go through all the same AV equipment in here. We'll be able to, if we go into executive session, stop, start, pause. There will be some functionality, potentially having people ask questions, which we're going to sort of trial to see how that goes.
You
So
mean
if
from
someone's-
outside the meeting?
Someone's watching the stream, they'll be able to ask a question. We'll see, kind of how that goes. I'd like to just open it up and, maybe so that, I can kind of moderate them as they come. I'd love for people to start asking questions.
Is that a requirement?
No, that part is not a requirement.
Shouldn't that just be during the beginning of the meeting?
Well, what's gonna happen is they would, say I have a tablet in front of me, on the right over here, they would, say, what about this? In which case, I'd be able to say, okay, J. Madison 3479 asks, why doesn't this have something to do with agriculture? That kind of thing. And so they would be able to moderate them.
So it'd be, they'd have to type a question in?
And every type of question, and it'd be similar to a webinar format, kind of thing where someone, you have 1,000 people on a webinar.
You're not rolling that out?
We're not rolling that out to start. And I'm gonna have it on, my computer so that I will be able to kind of moderate things. We will have.
Is there any
questions pop up.
information on how many, don't we stream them now, or is just the?
They're not streamed.
They're not streamed.
They're recorded.
Recorded and posted, yep.
Do we have any idea how many times the recordings are watched?
Yes, I have there's a little counter on each one. Anywhere from 10 to 35, which, it always kind of surprises me a little bit on the things that people watch. Now, when it's 10, it's mostly me.
Low or high surprise?
I'm a little bit surprised at how high they are.
Oh, okay.
They're, people are actually watching them. Now they might watch them for a little while, find them somehow, and then, geez, I'm looking for, cat videos, and they, immediately go off. But yes, we can track on how many there
Then they can watch us.
I'm gonna go back, watch
It's
the
Don's
video
fan
and see the
club.
vote I missed.
Yeah.
I'm certain of it.
Just a couple other quick things. We are planning a local government informational conference on energy projects and are reaching for some big statewide experts to keynote and or be on a panel. And I'll keep you posted on as that progresses. This is going to be an informational, I know it's kind of almost ridiculous to say, but a politics-free discussion of important facts on energy development in the North Country. And I did mention this last month. Dave and I are working with Paul from West.com and Rob from Kai's Information Technology on a LinkedIn entrepreneurial group. This will be focused on resources for people from more of a startup kind of standpoint. One sort of interesting side note on that, because there's the Doing Business in the North Country group, and there's a couple other groups that are out there. I reached out to the Doing Business in the North Country group and the admin there, and she immediately gets back to me and says, I like your idea better, can you just take over my group? Has close to 700 people in it, and she said, I really feel like, you know, this might be a little bit more beneficial, and it's not getting the data. We're considering rolling that group into this new piece, possibly keeping them, you know, separate. We had a couple of different things going on, but it would be nice to roll out with that many people engaged. And actually, that is an engaged group, which is awesome. So we're working on that. We have some really great logoing.
Just at that bigger picture, that like the entrepreneur group that we're looking to bring in, like, is a compliment. What we're trying to do is looking to bring together some of our local entrepreneurial type folks that are already engaged in entrepreneurial activities, kind of do some networking, sharing, so maybe they may be able to partner on projects, whatever. Maybe start with those that are really involved in it, and then maybe expand down the road to bring in, say, budding or, you know, aspiring entrepreneurs to do some networking, maybe supplementary programs. First, we want to start with bringing existing ones together and see where there's some potential partnerships.
And there could be another aspect, a more higher level group, which could be, you know, sort of like a VC type investing opportunity. There is a higher level business folks in the area that might need a little bit of networking of their own, and sort of be and I don't like the word mentoring necessarily, but, you know, to help mentor the entrepreneurial side too. So there's a couple different angles on this, but we're excited about it. So.
Question time?
Yeah.
Let's go back to your energy initiative. I was talking with Katie from Tug Hill, and they're planning to do something similar for the LGI.
Yes.
So why would we not just try to do this in conjunction with
Yep,
Tug Hill instead of doing it on?
We're gonna see where this goes, absolutely. And there's been some talk about from the other area where we talked with the guy last week, about them doing some other local government type conference thing. So, yeah, absolutely. We may.
Because that's well attended.
Yeah.
If you get people to go to two different things, it'd be kind of tough.
Yeah, we haven't defined, I mean, we're going to be meeting with Tug Hill and seeing what they've got in mind and how we can partner with the other counties as well. But a lot of it will depend on we don't know what that's going to take in terms of what approach. So we may look at maybe doing something to complement that. If that doesn't address an area, we'll pick it up somewhere else. So.
We're aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be meeting with them next Friday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marshall.
Nice video.
Thank you.
Mine was particularly good.
Okay.
In the essence of time, I emailed a whole variety of things to you. I'll forego a report unless you have questions for me.
No, that's fine.
Thank you.
Nicely done on the reports.
Thank you.
The only thing I noticed, Jay, is that you have the wrong title for the Borlaug's project.
Yeah, I saw that. I put Gould's Corners instead of Green's Corners.
There is a Gold's Corners though.
I know, well, that's what got me all
You're Evans Mills
confused.
or something of that nature.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks, Jay. Unfinished business?
What was Jay's request for the new council member? Are you gonna present that?
Do we grab them?
Must not.
I don't know if you,
Something like
Dave,
that.
want a quick update on
Yeah.
the announcement last week. It's really,
We could do that at the end of the meeting. Counselor, we have Brad Stein here.
He's supposed to be here for the Morgan.
Yeah, what I'm gonna look to do is, because he's come in from out of town, I'm gonna bring up our next meeting and have him come in and we can go over that quickly. I think that'll be fairly quick. Okay. The big one, consider resolution number 1107, 2019-02, to write off loan for AYD Associates LLC.
long time coming.
Understand that,
This would be retroactive to September 30th.
So we're going last year's.
Yes. Yeah, I had a long discussion with the auditors and Brian, and it meets all of the criteria to be written off, which doesn't mean we won't pursue collection.
Sure.
I was gonna say, we're still gonna pursue collection, there's so many times like,
Yes, we are.
It was only through their personal guarantee we had any leverage.
That was our reasoning, yes, and I think that's still rather sound.
Yeah, but I mean, that was the
Uh,
only leverage we would have. In any collections, we
Yeah,
would
based-
share
based-
with Dank in that proportional.
Well, any money collected will probably all go to the bank
Yeah.
So Watertown and Dank,
and us.
written theirs off too?
Isn't the
Now,
bank,
Dank is,
isn't the bank only 3,700 short according to this, or am I reading this wrong?
yeah, it's close, yeah. $1.8 million
29.
potentially, and just under $1.8 million on their loan balance.
So it looks like Watertown Savings Bank won't even come out whole.
No,
What would you, 50, 70 cents on the dollar? Any rough estimate?
I think probably that's closer than what these numbers indicate.
Okay, all right.
I think the final selling price of that will be far less than what they're indicating at $1.8 million. In fact, I know the only offer they have is far below that.
The best we'll have is a judgment on the personal guarantees.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my main question.
And Dank
And
is
we only
our-
get then 40% of whatever that
Yeah.
balance remains, because Dank gets 60.
Dank has already secured judgment against them.
Okay, they the lead?
It's not really participation.
Okay, so we each have our own loan, okay.
So will that automatically happen when we do the resolution, that we would file a judgment, or do we have to
Well,
ask for that?
we're gonna
as
have to
well?
sue them on guarantee.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was, that's
Yeah,
a separate.
well,
part.
we'll turn it over to collection, and
Okay.
the process will go from there.
So the only action is for the board to write it down in last calendar year's
Yes, that's correct.
accounts.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes without saying we're going to pursue collection on it.
Well, as they say, you can't get blood out of a stone, so I will make a motion to accept this. It's Kent signing the resolution anyway.
I'll second that.
all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Thank you. Anything else for the LDC? Any move on? Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries, motion carries.